Thank you for joining the Asheville Rise Stronger Together podcast. This is your host, Jessica Knupp with the Asheville Area Chamber of Commerce. I hope you enjoy today's episode. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, True Point Bank.
At True Point Bank, we believe life is personal and your banking should be too. It's a friendly face, local decisions, and a team that's dedicated to your success. Stop by today and see why True Point Bank is the bank where you matter most. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Today we are here with Ilze Zageris with Navitat, and I am so excited to hear what you guys have going on. I saw one of your spots recently on TV, and I was just like, oh man, like everybody needs to get out there. So I'm so glad that you were able to join us today.
Yes, thank you. I'm very excited to be here. Also very excited to kind of have Navitat back in full swing. You know, after Helene and everything, it took us a while to kind of put everything back together, and we have some new elements. We've actually, over the winter, kind of redesigned a little bit our Treat Up Express course. So Navitat has 2 zipline experiences and then also an RTV shadow experience. So we really try to cater to as much of the population as we can. The minimum age to participate in anything is going to be 5 years. And there is no really maximum, so everyone's welcome.
Yes.
Our Treat Up Express is going to be our kind of smaller canopy tour. It's a very traditional when you think of ziplining, when you like ziplining from one tree into another one, in the platforms that are elevated up in the trees. So the weight limits for those is going to be 35 to 225. So the 35 kind of minimum captures really the small kiddos. So they get a chance to kind of experience.
Do they do that by themselves?
Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
So there's sometimes if the kids are very close to that 35, they might not make it all the way in. So one of our guides will tandem with them.
Okay.
So that means we literally hook ourselves to the kiddo and then we go together so they have enough oomph to get across.
I mean, that would be my worst nightmare, I wouldn't get stuck because I would surely could get all the way through. But yes, I would be like,
Yeah.
Or if you're watching your child do that,
Exactly.
So, okay.
Yeah. So, but if kids are brave, and a lot of times, I think the benefit of being, 7 years old, you have no fear of death or anything.
Right.
So usually the kids are going to be so much more braver than the parents. So they're like, yeah, I can do this. And then we coach you in this what if scenario. Like if I do my job so well that you hit the brakes a little too much and or something happens, or if someone was to get stuck if it's super windy day, then we'll kind of teach you how to interact with the cable and pull yourself in, or we can also always retrieve our folks. So good
to know.
Yes. I think the best thing about Navitat as a consumer would be that you don't have to do anything. We will brake for you. We will provide all the gear. We will take you to places. We will also teach you about the nature that's around.
Nice.
Yeah, our the valley that we're in is one of the most biodiverse places on the entire earth.
Wow.
So we have a lot of medicinal plants. We have old forest trees, legend trees and whatnot. So our guides are kind of trained to do the best of both worlds. We make sure that safety is our utmost priority, of course, because it is crazy adventurous challenge. Yeah, but we also teach about kind of nature and the trees and formation of the Blue Ridge Mountains and kind of the do you know what makes the Blue Ridge Mountains blue?
No, I'd love for you to tell me.
So there's this gas that trees emit into the atmosphere. It's called isoprene. Think of it like tree sunscreen.
Okay.
So when the sun rays interact with it, it comes back as this blue haze. And we're actually, North Carolina is one of only 5 places across the entire earth that has Blue Ridge Mountains. So we're very lucky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's exactly some of the things that people won't know.
Right.
Yeah. Or when people know that it's, the Blue Ridge, but won't know much else about it.
Right.
It's very kind of almost gratifying to be like, oh yeah, let me just teach you something. And,
Yes.
and also our guides provide a lot of dad jokes. That's just comes with territory.
That's just part of it.
Yeah,
that's part of your ticket.
Exactly.
Part of the admission.
Exactly. So yeah, the Treetop Express, we kind of rebuilt it a little bit. So there's now a sky bridge. We kind of went back to our roots when Navitat opened 16 years ago now. The original course was all canopy tour. It did take about like 3 hours to complete, and we quickly realized that people's bladders can't really handle that.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and when it first started, it was like our guests would handbrake, and we're like, that's a little bit of a flaw in the system, because there's going to be some people that are like super brave or like super catch on, but then some people that break too much because they're a little scared. So
that would probably be me. I would be the consistent breaker, and you'd be like, take her off.
Yep. So kind of throughout it evolved, and also our mountaintop course, which is going to be our biggest seller, 100%, is the most adventurous. It is 3 long side-by-side lines. The longest one is 3,600 feet in length. It's about 3/4 of a mile. Wow. And it is completely above the tree canopy. So when you think fall, that's where you see all of the beautiful trees. And that course is also kind of best of both worlds, because when you're walking, it's a hiking / zipping tour, right?
Sure.
So you will get dropped off on the mountaintop with the beautiful views you take in, and we get all the like, notice this ridge because we're gonna start losing elevation or whatnot. And then as you walk through, you can see the leaves, right? And like everything's beautiful covered. And then on that second line, you exit the tree canopy. And we as humans gauge our speed by peripheral vision. Right? That's so when you're in an airplane and you're like, man, it doesn't feel like I'm going 55,000 miles an hour. Yeah. That's kind of the effect you experience on that mountaintop on that second line. We call it the Beast of the East.
Ooh.
Which is also my nickname on the weekend. See what I mean? That's where my dad jokes come in. But yeah, so when you're on that line, you kind of start, and then the canopy disappears, and it feels like you're slowing down. And I always have to say, it's going to feel like you're slowing down, but I promise you're not. You're still going at your fastest speed, which is about 60 to 65 miles an hour. That's what you experience on that line. And you can really tell, almost like the beauty of the mountains, how the fall starts to like gradually creep up the mountains. So you can see like down in the valley, it's super like orangey, you know, this golden, and then it starts to creep up or whatnot. It's absolutely beautiful. It's also interesting to notice both in the spring and in the fall how day by day the leaves change. It is incredible, because throughout our tours, our guides will take photos, and I personally ensure that those are great photos. We do an in-depth training, because you know, we do ask you to pay for those photos, and we want to make sure that they're worth your money.
Sure.
So yeah, and like, it's kind of, for us, it's the same kind of stations that we take photos at. For our guests, it's, you know, beautiful experience, but and now I work down at the Welcome Center, and when the photos get uploaded, you can just see how quickly like the leaves change, or just in the spring after like the first good rain, everything just like exploded in like greenery. It's kind of the same thing in the fall. You can really tell how fall is progressing just by those pictures that come back after every single tour.
I mean, we have, even just like where we're located, and we look out, and I mean, you know, I mean, I can notice it every day on my way to work. But yeah, it's just, I can't even imagine like seeing it from that perspective.
It is absolutely gorgeous. I think, so I used to live in Black Mountain, which is, you know, a beautiful place on its own, which is now very exploded. When I first moved there when I was 16, there was nothing to do but run around the streets, right? But now there's like restaurants and places and boutique shops or whatnot. Yeah, so kind of doing that drive that I used to do, it's about 45 minutes from Black Mountain all the way to Barnardsville. You can kind of see like you go from this one nature cave almost, right? Like this preserved, yes, there's homes and there's streets or whatnot, but there's a lot of beautiful trees around, then going into Asheville, which is a completely different vibe, and then going further into Barnardsville, which, you know, now I live in Asheville and my gas tank appreciates that it's no longer that far, but I think that's also my favorite now that I live in Asheville and I get to experience like the, you know, the restaurants, the breweries, the excitement of the town, and there's always something happening, and then go to Navitat to escape the electronics, to everything, and just kind of, you know, my office, literally faces a massive half wall window. There's just like faces the woods and the creek or whatnot. So it's absolutely beautiful. And for the folks that don't want to zip line, there's that RTV. So for example, if you were to bring your family and you're like, they really enjoy ziplining, I however do not, we will put you in an RTV vehicle. It's guide driven, so you're just seatbelt, helmet, and then you get to enjoy the views. You get to see your family zip away or zip into some platforms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, take some pictures, kind of see the excitement without the fear of actually zipping.
I mean, that might be right up my alley.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know. As I'm talking to you, I'm like, I could maybe do this.
Listen, it's always challenge by choice. So if you try the first line and you're like, this was great, that's all I needed, that's fine. Yeah, you just let us know and we'll get you down from the mountain. Sometimes we also will use the RTV vehicle to accommodate as many folks as we can. We've had this family that comes through every other year, I want to say. Their kiddo has MS, so he is very difficulty walking and whatnot. But if you give us enough heads up, we'll listen and be like, as much as we can accommodate, we will.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and they're very good about, their kid will come with their own, medical help, medical helper. So they will, get the kiddo up to the platform. We will hook him in. He zips like normal.
That is wonderful.
And then we unhook him, put him in the vehicle, so that RTV can also be used as a transport.
Nice.
Because there is those hiking parts, and they're going to be on uneven ground in the woods, right? But there is a kind of workaround. The other day we had just the gentleman in a boot, what did he say? He was like, I wish it was a better story. But I just twisted.
That's what we all say when we throw our back out or something.
Exactly.
I had a better story for this, but I don't.
So
I'm getting older,
right? And again, with enough heads up, we'll just, instead of hiking, we'll just put him in the vehicle, and then you walk up to the platform, you zip, and then you get put in the vehicle and drive along. And the drivers are also the same guides that know the area, so while you're while everybody else is hiking, you'll still get the same kind of education and whatnot.
Wow, that's wonderful. Because I would say, especially in a group or families, not everybody has the same adventure level.
Exactly.
And so I think that's great that you guys can kind of accommodate everybody, but then still feel like they're all getting the same experience.
Yes, and we will often also have, if there's a wide variety of kids in the family, right? If there's 5 and 7-year-old and then 14 and 16-year-old, then a lot of times families will, one goes on the Treetop Express with, a parent and the 2 kids, and then a parent and other go on the mountaintop tour. Okay. So, and the Treetop Express now runs about 1.5 to 2, and then the mountaintop tour takes about 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay. So there is a slight difference, but also our welcome center area is beautifully curated. There's some games outside, there's hammock chairs, rocking chairs, there's a beautiful creek you can walk up, and then sometimes we'll get the folks that really don't want to zip or whatnot. The Treetop Express is slightly harder to accommodate the RTV because all of the action happens up in the trees,
right?
So it's not quite the best design for that, but we will still have some a grandma or grandpa that don't want to go, so we'll kind of encourage them to go to meet the rest of the group on the very last platform, because it's just a beautiful walking path in the woods.
Right.
So we'll give them a helmet just in case.
Always. Yes. Safety
and then,
first.
Exactly. And then they walk up to the very last platform and they can see people take a leap of faith out of the trees. Now, when I started 4 years ago, I'm afraid of heights.
Oh, no!
And I'm still afraid of heights. But I started as a guide, and it's interesting because one of my friends, I was actually in an acting class with a guy that worked at Navitat, and I had just left my job, and he was like, I really don't know what to do. He's like, you should work in Navitat, be a guide. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm afraid of heights? And he said, well, everyone is. I was like, okay, well, that's
well, all right.
Yeah.
You put it that way.
Exactly. So, but you just kind of get used to it, and I think as a guide, personally, I appreciate the kind of experience of I get distracted from my fear, just because I'm dealing with my guests and talking about, and then also working the breaks and whatnot, so it gets me distracted. I think counter to what many people think when they call, I'm uneasy with the heights, I want to do the Treetop Express. And I understand why you would think that, because it's closer to ground and it's one at a time, but because it's continuously elevated up in the trees, I think it's worse.
Oh,
if you're afraid of
insider
heights.
tip.
Insider tip, that's right. Because, so first of all, there's the, you zip into the platform, and then there's a sky bridge, which is a little wobbly, which some people super enjoy.
Yeah,
and then there's some people like me that
ooh.
are like, ooh.
And
walking across, you are clipped in at all points,
Uh-huh.
and the guides will take care of it, but just something to be aware of. And then once you zip all through, on the very last platform, you have to take a leap of faith. And it's the system that we have, it's called a True Blue. It's very similar to what you see in like climbing gyms.
Okay.
On the long walls, right? You just climb up and then jump off. It's the same thing, but for us is like you can't sit down, which a lot of people want to like sit down, because it kind of functions like safety, like a seatbelt. The more you pull, the more it gives. Yeah. So you really have to take one big brave step, and that's where I mean, like, where kids are going to be like, yeah, this is totally fun. Let me just take it off, and then parents are like, I don't know, this one. Yeah. So if you're super uneasy with heights, I know that the mountaintop sounds scarier because it is, at the highest point you're 350 feet up in the air. Yeah. But the benefit is you start on a ground platform and you end on a ground platform. Right. So the only time you're up in the air is in a nice seated body position, because the harness will naturally put you in that. Okay. Hands on the handlebar, or at least one. We'll let you flop around your wings if you want.
I mean, if you want.
I
don't know.
Yeah, challenge by choice. And then you end up back on the ground. Okay. So there's, things to be considered, but usually the mountaintop, and that one has been opened, I want to say it opened in 2015, and that one was purely built on our guest reviews. So when people went on that original tour, they'd be like, this is great, but we would like to go faster and higher and possibly together. Yeah. And Navitat was heard. Yes. Let's see what we can do.
I love that. But I mean, that's what people want. They want that experience. And I love that you guys were like, okay, let's figure it out. I mean, we all kind of had to do that during the hurricane too. So, but well, that is so cool. I mean, I just think that like just that family environment, making sure that everybody can be included, even if they don't want to. How far is it to get out there from Asheville?
It's about 25 minutes from downtown Asheville, so it's really not that bad. There is kind of food desert a little bit, so I think building a day would be nice to kind of spend the morning in Asheville, grab some breakfast, or even on the way in Weaverville. We really love Weaverville. Sometimes folks are, I'm good. I don't want to enjoy. I don't want to go on any of your adventures. And we're like, great, you can just go to Weaverville, come back in 2 hours, and pick up your family. Kind of thing. But yeah, so it's absolutely beautiful. You kind of drive through, and it's easy roads. After a hurricane, sometimes we'll get questions about like, how is it? It was rebuilt. I mean, Barnardsville took a lot of damage. Yes. We got much luckier because we didn't have a lot of water. Okay. But we did lose about half of our trees. Yeah, that was a significant damage, and we lost one of our big red oaks that's a legend tree up in the top, but we kind of left it. So when you get dropped off, we built a little bit like a path so you can go up to the stump, because it's quite impressive. It's over 200 years old. Sure. And we kind of left that just reminiscence, and our guides are very good about talking about their personal experience and how that was and helping the community. And I think Navitat really shown what we can do right after we kind of built into the community, and because we have our off-road vehicles, we're able to go and help and provide some supplies to places that were very hard to get. So Navitat really came together with Barnardsville community, which is an interesting community to say the least. I think it's like best of both worlds. It's kind of like the people that are used to living, in the countryside, but also very close knit when it comes to it. Beautiful, and the family, we actually rent the property from the McDarris family. They've had the property since before Civil War. But they're, gracious and wonderful, and they kind of wanted to preserve the land while also making a little bit of money. And Navitat is actually a combination of two words, navigating your habitat, which the founders kind of came up with. And it's a beautiful branding, because let me tell you, I don't have to spend much in the branding. If someone looks for Navitat, they're looking for this one specific place. Yes. And personally, so we've been open, this is our 16th season, and we've gotten, Best of Western North Carolina 15 years running.
Love it.
It took us a year to figure out what we're doing, and then afterwards.
That's all right.
Which I'm very proud, despite of like changes that might happen in ownership or, courses or whatnot.
Sure.
Our staff is really dedicated and love what they do, because I mean, it is a seasonal job, so you know, most of the time we close.
When are you guys open?
March through November.
Okay.
Yes.
Like end of November, or does it just depend on the weather?
Kind of depend on the weather and what the plans are going to be, but usually it's going to be end of November, and then we close for winter, because sometimes, you know, if it snows or whatnot, nobody wants to be out there.
I mean, woo, that'd be a little chilly.
One of my like return guide trainings was in early February, and we were out there with like snow, and like I need my fingers, but I can't feel them.
My goodness.
Yeah, so there's a good reason why we wait.
Yes.
But then also during the winter, it gives us time to improve the courses, or you know, change paths, or improve platforms or whatnot. So there's some work that happens during the winter, but we're just are closed for good reason. Nobody wants to scrape off ice off the cables before we send anyone.
No, that does not sound like something you would want to do. So if do most people book ahead? Like like if you want to make a reservation or come out, like what is the best way to navigate Navitat?
Very good.
Dad joke.
That's right.
Not actually.
It's a good try.
I mean, I tried.
Yeah. We will always recommend making reservations ahead of time. Absolutely, if you bring a large group, because we'll have like camps come through with 40 people or corporate groups, which are always welcome.
What's considered group? Like how many?
More than 10.
More than 10. Okay.
Yeah. So our usual kind of tour capacity is 9. Sometimes on a busier day we'll open it up to like 10 or 11. But then usually like 13 and plus, that's like a nice group that we will accommodate. We also, right now, actually yesterday we started our 7 days a week for the summer. Okay. Otherwise we're closed Tuesday and Wednesday, because those traditionally are just slower days. So right now through August we're open 7 days a week, because it's our summer, so it's going to be the busiest. During this time, reservations are definitely recommended. We will still have people that what we call walk-ins, and while that is okay for you to do, there's no guarantee that you can get on a tour at that specific time that you want. Sure. So if you're planning ahead, definitely plan for reservations. In October, reservations is to go to, because October is our besides July. Sure. I think October even passes July a lot of times, because October is when the leaves come. Yeah. And for that one, we will, middle of summer, we'll already start seeing bookings for October. So definitely. And in October, we're making an exception as well. We're going to be open 7 days a week. Okay. To kind of accommodate the folks that really want to see the leaves. But yeah, at least 72 hours ahead of time making reservations. If you know sooner, go ahead and book it. Sure. Our regular cancellation policy is those 72 hours, so as long as you make changes outside of that, there's no penalty. Inside the 72 hours, if you need to reschedule, you still can. There's just a fee that comes with it. But yeah, we try to be, as accommodating as we can. And the waits, I think we, in the industry kind of around, we do capture the most folks with those weight limits that we have. So the mountaintop is going to be 60 to 265. Okay. So it's captures a lot of diverse folks and whatnot. So yeah, definitely encourage reservations. But if anything, you can always give us a call. If you were to be like, I'm in town, I just decided. Right. Give us a call. We'll tell you if, around what time, if you were to come, nice. what's a good kind of tour. All right. Well, if anybody wants to book a tour, follow you guys on social, can you tell us how to get all that information? Yes. Our website is just navitat.com/Asheville, because we do have 2 locations. Oh, okay. So we have Asheville location and then a sister location in Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, wonderful. That one is much more of a ropes course rather than zip lines. So think like multiple trails up ahead, have 2 hours to explore whatever you can. Gotcha. If you're afraid of heights, not really bad. Oh, there you go. Yeah. And then on socials, it's just Navitat across the board. We've seen a lot of folks... because we do like a how did you hear about us, and we've seen good traffic through TikTok, which is interesting, because that was when we first started, it was like, that's where we put the fun content, and then we started seeing like people are actually seeing this, and we've had a couple of guests that make their entire vacation around coming to Navitat. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. Absolutely amazing. We love it. And then usually Instagram is the best way, because that's where we'll also communicate if we have any deals going on, like for Father's Day or Mother's Day or veterans, anything like that. Instagram is the best place to go.
I love it. And then just another question really quick. What are the hours?
Usually, so our office hours are going to be 9 to 5. The tours usually run, kind of depends on the year, the time of year, but now during the summer, usually the first tour is going to be either 9 or 9:30.
Okay.
And then the last tour is going to be about 3 or 3:30.
Okay.
And that makes sure that we wrap up around 5:30 or 6-ish.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and the tours usually run on like half-hour schedule. And then the Treat Up Express is going to be one morning, one afternoon, one late afternoon. Kind of tour. But yeah, all of that can be found on our website. It's user friendly, and if anything, there's a live chat feature that you can just connect with one of our folks in the office and just give us a call.
That is great. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us today? I mean, I feel like you've covered so many things. Yeah. Like, I'm ready to get out there.
I think it is absolutely so hard to explain. We have people that come year after year, and they always find something new.
Right.
And I think zipping on that mountaintop is the closest you can be to flying while still being very secured.
Right.
And it's like we sometimes will have people that are like, I gotta do this, and then I'll go skydiving. You know, like it's one of those.
Oh, like a step.
Yeah.
You know, you're like getting yourself prepared.
It's just inexplicable. Every time that I go down the line, I'm like, I can't believe I work here. This is my office. And it's so beautiful. You see so much. And I mean, it has definitely put a new perspective and appreciation for nature just to see it. And it's like we invite you to put your phone away for 2 hours, enjoy the nature, kind of be part of the adventure, make some friends that you afterwards can put on your mantle and talk about. You know, like I love to imagine this idea when you purchase the entire photo package, you will have some strangers in there. And I always imagine somebody has put complete strangers on their mantle and be like, oh, that was a good day.
Yeah, that is so
friends.
fun. Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely something to do, you know, and if anything, at least the bucket list item, you know, do it once.
Check it.
Yeah,
check it off the list.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for telling us all about Navitat and, you know, really just giving us some insider tips and some dad jokes. Like, I mean, you know, what else could you ask for? But we really appreciate your partnership here with the Chamber and, you know, with our Welcome Center, or our Visitor Center, and all of that to get people out there. And just thank you so much for being here today.
Of course, thank you.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, like, comment, and subscribe. To learn more about joining the Asheville Chamber, scan the QR code on your screen or visit ashevillechamber.org. Until next time!